Hello and welcome to the Witch's Realm. I'm Andrea Franco, Intuitive Business Mentor.
And I'm Amanda Root, Mindset and Manifestation Mentor. We created this podcast as a safe space for women to connect and come out of the witch's closet and own their magic.
We discuss everything from business, pleasure, spell work, sex, wealth, and how to live a magically abundant as fuck life.
Yeah, get ready to tune in and get turned on.
Hello, hello. Can everyone hear us and see us?
Hello.
So excited. All right. We're getting yes. Yes. We got you all doing the thing.
Thank
all
you.
Right. How did you like that? We figured we'd start with our intro. All right. We are so excited. Where is everyone tuning in from? Let's drop it in the chat.
Hi, guys. We are so excited to be here live for our first live taping of the Witch's Realm. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to tune in and listen to an episode or two. Oh my gosh, look at everybody
Virginia,
coming.
Missouri, Los Angeles. Didn't see the intro here at FYI.
Florida. Oh my
Happy
God.
to be here. Love the podcast.
Katie from
Michigan.
Buffalo. Hi, Katie. Oh my gosh. I love it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Honestly,
down the street from you.
All the feedback that we have gotten since putting the podcast out over the last couple of weeks has just been incredible. And I'm just so grateful for everyone who's listened and sent in feedback, reviews, questions. So thank you guys so much for coming tonight. We're just so grateful to have you here.
I love that. Milford.
Danielle's in the car.
In my car, it gets practice. Okay. So what we want to do is just give you a little intro of why we started the podcast, who we are, obviously. And then we are going to go into the word witch, what it means to us, what it means to you. And then obviously what we know you all came for is some live readings and asking us questions about, the word witch, the podcast, really anything you want to know.
We're opening up the floor.
We're going to open up the floor. And if anyone knows, our readings are pretty epic. So I'm excited for that as well. All right. So I'm just going to go right in. For those of you who don't know me, I'm an intuitive business mentor. I've had quite the journey tapping into my gifts, and Amanda was a huge part of that. I met her 10 years ago at her grandmother's house, and she read me, and I was one of those clients that was like extremely inquisitive. And I just wanted to know all of the things because I knew I was gifted. And obviously I was raised in like a Catholic house where this stuff was not talked about. And that was really one of the reasons that I decided, and we decided that we wanted to do this podcast to create a safe space for people, and especially women who want to dive deeper into their intuition, into the world, into their gifts. And this has been like just a love baby in the making.
Literally.
And I'm just so excited to be here, and your emails and your questions and your support has just been amazing. So yeah, we met each other, and then a couple of years, went by, and after years of learning my gifts, and Amanda came into the online space, and here we are.
Yeah, I feel like we've been talking about making a podcast though for a really long time. I mean, Andrea and I would have these conversations. Andrea was probably the first person to ever come into my life and like instantly just start questioning everything that I didn't even know if I knew or didn't know, or pretty much all those things that I had been thinking like deep down inside and pondering for years and years. And maybe I did, as I said, like in some of the sisterhood episode, which was like one of the episodes that got so much love and so many plays. I have been so blessed in my life to have really had so many early experiences with people women, even as like a young girl, experimenting and sort of feeling into what our spirituality meant. Um, you know, my practice is something that has been a part of my life since I was super young. And I'm sure some of my girls that had readings from me in high school I know some of them are here on the podcast. But I was always messing around with my cards and really started taking it seriously around the time that I met Andrea. She came into my life. I was reading, tarot at my grandmother's house, and we just started getting into these really intense, weird conversations. I love weird people. I like to talk. I don't want to talk about the weather. I don't, and so Andrea and I would have like these really deep, crazy, weird on conversations. And we were like, other people need to be listening to this, and then through that, we've gotten so much feedback and so many people like adding to the conversation that we just were like, we need to have a place where everyone can come on and like ask their questions and open the floor. And talk about the word witch. Like, what does it mean? Because obviously using that word, like we were very intentional about it. I remember the day that you were like, we are naming this at Stonebridge. Shout out to Stonebridge. We were at all the Green Goddess. You were like, we're using the word. Yeah. Like it's in the name. And I was like,
yeah, there was definitely, I feel like, initial hesitation to using the word witch because it's bold. And I feel like there's just so much misconception around the word witch. It's like, someone who wears a black hat and it's very like one-sided. I feel like
you do wear a black hat.
I mean, like the only version, right? We could be like sexy witches and all the different things. So I really wanted to use the word because magic and spell work and my intuition has been such a large part of me and my success. And so I think that it was just something that I kept hidden because it's like, you're not super professional if you call yourself a witch, right? And I know so many of my clients and women around the world who feel like, oh, I can't say that because people aren't going to accept me, or I can't say that because I'm going to lose
JJ's
clients.
leaving. I just saw him leave behind us. Our producer has left the building.
And I have always been a kitchen witch. That's Amanda. Amanda's the kitchen witch.
Yeah.
So we wanted to open the floor on like what the word witch means to all of you here.
Yeah. So for me, like I grew up, my grandmother was really instrumental in my life, but she always would say to me like, don't be too loud about it because someone might call you a witch. And so I feel like I had like this inside, like that word, but then I started to notice that people who really knew me and spent time around me, like I didn't need to tell them like I'm weird and I'm creepy and creepy things happen when you're my friend and you hang out with me and I do weird things. You're like, oh, so then I realized that like people were calling me that with a really endearing tone. Like they'd be like, oh my God, witch. Like I, someone would call, I'll text them and they're like, I was literally just thinking about you, or I was just about to text you, or whatever. And so then I realized like, wow, this is a more endearing word. This is a word that other women are using to say to me, and it doesn't feel bad. It feels good. And now it's a word that I feel like holds so much power because it's really about really coming into our own power is what the word means to me. So I would love to hear what it means to you. And if you feel, like dropping it in the chat, we would love for you to share sort of, or just your reaction to, what it made you feel when you heard the name of the podcast. If you were like, what are these girls talking about? I mean, you can share that too. Like, be honest, we can take it. But you know, my grandma like always lived all up on the hill, and like every Halloween, like she would say, like, nobody comes to my house to get candy because like I live up on the hill, I'm the witch's house. And like that really kind of stuck with me for a long time. And I was like, I don't know if I can really, you know, show this part of myself to the world. Like, what is everyone gonna think?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that when I started owning my gifts and slowly talking about it, I will never forget the day I made the first post online and I was like peeing my pants. And I know that everyone's like, oh, Andrea, she doesn't care what anyone thinks. And I was like, it's scary. And I think that the more we've started to like normalize this together, it's felt like easier and easier, which is why we wanted to create the podcast and do this launch here, is like safety and love around the world.
It's really just a woman who understands her power and understands the creation, that work that we do as women. As women, that's who we are. We are creators. We create life. We create more than life.
Cindy said, I recently saw that the meaning of witch means wise one. That really resonates with me.
Yeah, I was looking up some witch definitions today and I saw that. I actually saw that it meant wise one. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Felt ecstatic and waiting for this for so long, stepping into my witchiness more and more. Does anyone want to brave and unmute themselves and share anything? Because I feel like there's a few of you that I'd love to hear from.
Oh, I love, Melina said it's such a cool choice right now, having the time. It's a time where the world is having a massive deprogramming, and normalizing the word can empower women to come into their own magic. I love that.
When I found the name of your podcast, I felt like the two of you were strong enough and empowered enough to use the word witch. Okay, girl. Oh, Mel raised her hand. I am here for it.
Hi, Mel. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hi, ladies. Yeah, I love this discussion right now because it's I'm currently, all right. I felt the tears coming.
Yes, we are here for
no, but they're like really empowering tears, because I feel like right now is such a huge time where those of us who have a power that is different than the way that society used to work are being called out, but the world isn't working. And the systems that were in place before, like, those, the old systems have to die. And there's a lot of people right now who are speaking up, like, I'm not going to bring up other examples, but just like, it takes a lot of courage to step into your own power, and how people go, no, that's weird, that's bad, that's a witch, magic is wrong. I'm currently experiencing my own father and my boyfriend's father questioning me and what I do. Well, are you sure that she did this? Maybe I should Google it. Was she really a part of this? Did she really do this? And even my own dad going, what are the businesses that you actually help, so I could Google them and figure out, which isn't a thing that you can actually do. Like I almost just stopped everything that I was doing, because putting yourself out there and being bold and being confident is not accepted. And I'm such a little bitch sometimes.
No, you're not.
No, it's a good thing, because then I get to dive deep. And then last week I had the conversation. I'm like, am I going to quit? Am I going to quit? Am I just going to acquiesce and go just fucking work for Facebook or something? And then I got an email. That a company is recognizing me as a worldwide Facebook expert, and they want to feature me in an article. And I can't believe that I struggle all the time with being so powerful,
and you got that,
but also struggling with people not believing it. So the more that we can rise and share our weirdness and our uniqueness, I'm here for it, and it's time.
Something that came up last week. Thank you for sharing that, Melina. But you brought up such a beautiful, when you share something and you have a group of women listening, it's just so powerful. I mean, just listening to you speak and watching all the faces that I can see, like feeling the love coming from all of these people directed towards you. It was just beautiful. And there's such power in that. And it just goes to show you, you know, I think it was very threatening centuries ago when women would gather and, you know, be in their power in numbers, and just returning to that energy and getting in the space of such incredible, powerful, amazing women is just so amazing. So thank you so much for sharing, and, you know, your
Yeah, thank
vulnerability
you guys
is
for setting the
beautiful.
example and doing what you're doing. I mean, you both have been such a powerful catalyst for my growth, and watching you guys do your thing is helping me to also come out of the shadows and keep growing and keep going. Well, maybe there's not a word for what I am in my industry, but I'm going to make one up, or I'm going to take a word that has a negative connotation and redefine it. You know what I mean? Because that's what power is.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not circumventing the system, it's creating your own system. So
I just really want to applaud you for sharing too, because I know that so many people watch me, especially, and I think the thought is like, well, that seems so easy. Like some days it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, trying to forge this new path that others haven't gone down before. And like, I'm not going to tell you every day it's rainbows and butterflies. Being the one to walk first, being the one to share, being the one to speak up, being the one to do these things. It's not easy all the time. So every woman sitting here right now listening to us, I just wanted to thank you for speaking up, for going first, for doing this work, because this is how we raise the collective, which is why we created this podcast. Like this is how we own our
and
womb.
connect.
Yes. And connection is just so deeply important. Sisterhood has truly changed my life. And so I just wanted to thank you for sharing and being vulnerable, but also for doing the work and not giving up and coming to do a spell with me, and the next day getting the email and owning your witchiness, right?
oh yeah, by the way, that email came after I did a spell with Andrea. So just saying.
I love you so much.
I love you too, ladies.
Such an honor to have you. And
Richard said, witches mean spiritual love. How is Mamo? I miss her. Mamo as well. My great grandma was truly terrified of Ouija boards and attached that to witch. So it's a bad thing for me growing up. She had a bad experience with one, being told the future, and it ended up happening. She was scared because of that and passed that down to me until I realized that I am a solitary witch. Yeah, I was a solitary witch for a really long time. I mean, obviously I had family that I was connected with and my grandmother, but she was not like, let's do a spell together. It was like very, this is just what you do. So a lot of my practice was solitary until Andrea just basically like attached herself to me and was like, show me everything you know how to do now. Literally.
Yeah, I don't, sometimes some of our traits are like blessing and curses. We use that word here. And like, I have no patience and I do not take no for an answer.
Yes, true.
All right, true. Next, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. Lena.
That's me. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for the spell membership too. I've been following you for a little bit, but it's all part of the split. It's all part of, the separation of 3D and 5D and really just stepping into our power and just, I'm a social worker by trade, but I
love that.
There's a bigger calling, right? There's a bigger calling that's not being fulfilled in my own private practice, which I'm super grateful for, but I know that there's so much more, and you're giving me that confidence and that power to do so. And so I'm here for it, ladies. And I'm so excited for the podcast. I'm so excited for everything.
Thank you.
I'm super, super thrilled. And I welcome everybody on this journey.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
And sometimes that's all we need, right? Is like a permission slip to be all of ourselves.
Or a hand, someone to say like, take my hand, let's walk this journey together. Let's go. I'm ready. One thing that really stuck out for me today, it was funny. I was texting with like my family chat and I said to my parents, I was like, "Oh, I have my podcast launch party tonight, so I won't be home. You know, the kids are going to be home, whatever." And my mom's like, "Oh, is that your witch thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then like the memes start, like they started flooding in, and the Glinda one. So they're all sending me like these witches with like warts and stuff. And I sent back Glinda because my mom used to say to me when I was a kid, she would always say, "Are you a good witch or a bad witch?" And I would say, "I'm not a witch at all." It was like this cute little thing we used to do when I was little. But, that question has always kind of resonated with me. Am I using my powers in the right way?
Yeah.
Am I harnessing them and using them to push forward? Lena talking about the split, there's a lot happening right now in the world, and there's a lot of energetic force moving things in different directions. And it's a really interesting time to really ask yourself, what are you doing right now to move the world in a better place? Do you believe that you have a profound effect on the world? Do you believe that you have the power to impact the outcome of certain things? These are powerful questions to ask yourself. And I just wanted to kind of open the floor up for some of that discussion as well, of what's coming up along those lines. Kirsty, we have a hand up from Kirsty.
Hi, you guys.
Hello.
I'm calling from New Zealand. I'm not calling, you're calling. Yeah, you know what I mean.
We're calling you.
I'm just, yeah. I'm just in the middle of putting my boy down, so that's why my picture's been off. But I just wanted to say that I am a little baby witch. My mum was very spiritual when she was bringing us up, and then sort of stopped. And I'm getting back into it now, and it's very exciting. And when I saw the word witch come up, it didn't scare me, and it sort of went, oh, that's not scary at all for me. And it just blew me away. And I just thought I wanted to say, I don't really know what I wanted to say. I just felt like I needed to say, I'm here. I'm excited.
We're so happy to have you here. Thank you for being brave to come on and just claim your space, sister.
Yes.
I love when women just take up space. I welcome you to take up space here.
Totally.
Because that's what we're meant to do in the world, right? Like, I claim my space, and you just wanted to come on and do that.
Yeah. I mean, we could have had this night and just kicked off the podcast and said, "Hey guys, here's our YouTube channel. It's live," which PS it is. This is every episode that you have listened to is now available on YouTube.
There's a correlated
all those
video.
Episodes where we were talking about Andrea's hand and you were wondering what was going on.
Hand? It was wrapped.
We are here
I'm like going like this.
The videos are now on YouTube. So
you get to see the expressions on my face.
Check it out. But really and truly, we sat down and we said, what would be the coolest thing? And we were like, it would be to get people in the same space and share energy, and really connect with get some feedback, answer some questions. Because the messages we've been getting have been unbelievable.
Yeah.
I love it. Yes, binge that shit. Move over Netflix. Watch out.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the emails that we're getting are literally like, "Thank you," and so that's also been like super moving. All right, Jackie.
Hi, Andrea. Hi. I'm sorry I didn't.
Amanda. Hi. Nice to meet you.
You all. I just wanted to share a little bit on my experience with fear around the subject of witchy things, I suppose. Many years ago, I was introduced to the tarot and by a very dear friend who I trusted, but I was really nervous about it, because I thought that the tarot was prophetic, that it would, you know, tell things that were very like sort of, this is going to happen, you know, and I wasn't up for that. And I had this confusion about, I'm just using the tarot as an example. I had these limitations in my head around these different resources and tools. And it wasn't until I really gradually came to trust it and understand other tools, like I noticed in this prosperity spell that we did, that, you know, there's that circle of protection or containment, depending on how you want to look at it, and just different tools and resources that really support people who, like me, kind of come into sometimes these newer things feeling a little bit fearful. Also, I just wanted to speak to language and labeling things, and I kind of had to, I'm reframing the word witch, because I have a little bit more of a shamanic, Native American shamanic understanding through a friend of mine who's a practitioner, and that's what I'm familiar with. And I thought initially, like, oh, I won't really get this because it's like another thing. And then I was like, well, I kind of think they're really pretty related. And so, you know, it's sort of like, I think it's correct to say, and please, you know, share your thoughts on this. One path, I mean, you know, sort of one aim, many paths. And so I guess I'm kind of reframing some things, and it's nice to be in the conversation. So thanks.
Thank you for
I
sharing.
love that.
What I really love what you just said that I just want to talk about for 1 second is like the tarot. And I had a client text me like, hopefully the cards say something good. And I was like, and if they don't, we can change that. Right. And like, that is the thing that I want to say, like why I did a spell with everyone, why I created the spell membership, why we do this work, why I decided to like come out to the world as a witch, is the fact that we hold the power. So I might, you know, do a spread in tarot and it might warn me of what can come in the current energy that I'm in. But energy is something that can be shape-shifted, changed, amplified, whatever, right? At any given moment.
The path is not linear. And when you're laying out a spread, you know, you're laying out several possible outcomes depending on the path that the questioner chooses. And honestly, what I love about what you shared as well, you know, reframing words and taking off the lens and just saying like, okay, if I forget all my preconceived notions, because a lot of what it's all related, a lot of what we're talking about, the idea of limiting beliefs and the law of attraction. And I mean, these are widely accepted principles and ideas, and it's just applying it in a more feminine. And yes, you can always change your cards. It's something that I have always said. I have always said that, you know, if you come see your cards, we can change it. They can always be changed.
Yep.
I love it.
I love that. Susan.
So thrilled that you guys are doing this, and just kind of like I've met the two of you, and so it's so much fun, like to see people come from New Zealand and Florida. It's like, yes, people, these two women like breathe and live, and they're real, and they're super cool as they look.
Thank you, Susan. At my birthday party, everybody.
yeah, I'm getting the chills. And it's interesting to hear Jackie's comment. And I wanted to piggyback that, if I may, because I've been, as a 60-year-old woman who's been into witchy and alternative and weird, and I've always been the weird girl my whole life amongst my, you know, mainstream friends. And I was actually living with one of my mainstream friends a couple of years ago. And just in talking, like she said, I'm scared to death of tarot. And she love her to pieces. I mean, we've been friends since I'm going to start crying, since we were 14 years old. And my heart sort of broke because tarot has been such an important part of my life for 15 years, over 15 years. Like really, like the cards have guided me and are still guiding me almost now more than ever as I step into my reinvention of myself at this stage of my life. And I thought, wow, like we're so close and yet we're so different. And, you know, to me, that's a very important message right now because of the way of the world and people, you know, even in this tonight, you know, the split, somebody said, right? And I wanted to, you know, talk her out of it. That was my first reaction and make her feel safe. But I didn't. She probably knows how important it is to me. And for her to just kind of deliver that, it was just interesting, the interpretation that people have of us, you know, and that's essentially what I think what you guys are addressing, you know, to try to really take it head on and take the mystique off and claim ourselves as we keep saying, but to know that there are people that we get into bed with every night that think we are just freaks of nature.
Well,
And yet
they know we're freaks of nature.
Right. But I find it fascinating to that this far along in our evolution on this planet, that it could still be considered almost, you know, like an evil doing. Like that's really what she feels like it's evil.
Well, I think with all things, you get this dichotomy of good and evil. And when you really look at it and you understand that there's good and evil in everything, there's black and white. That's where you get the idea of the yin and the yang, the feminine and the masculine, the negative and the positive. You need this balance, and you need a little bit of darkness in the light, and you need a little bit of good and a little bit of evil. And so people take things and they go to the extreme with it. And that's what we see in society. Everything is so extreme, and there's such a big fear over the unknown. So people fear the unknown. They fear what they don't understand. They fear what is different. And I think that the feeling that we all have as we sit in this very charged space here tonight, and we're feeling this energy, that this type of power and this type of energy could be something that someone who doesn't understand it might fear. And so it perpetuates this idea of, you know, if you put a bunch of powerful women in a room, they're doing something dangerous.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I said, you know, it like mentioned the link to Christianity and how we've been cast. You know, I'm going to say, and as I'm saying that, I'm almost feeling like that's a past life thing for me, that I've been cast this way because Christianity really was, you know, wanted to squash us and keep us squashed, you know? And so that's I'm still fascinated that in 2021, that mystique is still so solid in someone I know so well. So thank you for helping me address that and process it. And lots of love. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan.
And thank you for also bringing that to light, because it's been something that, like, since I'm so loud about being intuitive and a witch and all the different names that I've owned, really, I have seen all walks of life, all ages, everything of women come to me and be like, me too, or, you know, like I do tarot, I do this. And it's like so interesting because you have no idea how many of your friends are, witches,
Mhm.
and it's like, it's not talked about enough. And that's literally what you just said is why we created this podcast and why I
Right.
do what I do. And I think it's going to become more mainstream and more quote unquote accepted, because there is nothing evil about what we do. Right. And like, something I said in one of my posts that I just want to say here today too, is like, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, and I believe in deities and archangels and passed over loved ones and all of those things. This does not have to be a but. And by the way, you can't love and light your way out of fucking everything in life. I'm sorry. Love and light doesn't lead the way all of the time. Sometimes it's sacred rage and anger release and trauma work and the things that come out of the
shadow
shadows.
self. Yeah.
And that is important topics. So if you want to love and light your way out of life every day, that's just not a reality that I could sign up for, because that's just not reality. And so we need to talk about the shadows and the dark feminine and
the
all of
ego.
these other things in the ego. And
Mhm.
that's so important, because my work in this world has been to kill my ego and to do so much, but it's also, it serves us as much as we want to, heal and work on our ego and all of that stuff. It's that ego and that voice have been a power or a helpful hand at some part of life that taught you a lesson. And that's what life is continuously learning lessons, right?
Yeah.
I had to go on that little tangent.
Thank you. And I think one of the coolest things, and then I'll sign off, is, what you said, Andrea, is and. The word and, like, especially in this polarized planet, it's, we're getting more polarized, as if we couldn't be more around elections last year or 2 years ago, and now we're more polarized. And to me is it softens everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It just softens, it just takes the charge out of, of the polarization that I think is really can be painful. I know it's painful for me. And so, and just kind of is a deep breath. So thank you for that, Andrea.
Most people who are intuitive and who are in touch with their intuition. So I believe that we all have abilities to tap into this information and to tap into divine messaging. I believe that very fully. And I believe that most people who are just prone to doing it easily, they start to develop those strengths and skills as children. And I know this because I have children, and also because I was a child. And as a child, I was extremely sensitive to energies. So I didn't sleep well at night. You know, medium work has been something that I've done for 20 years now, probably longer. If I can really think back to like the first spirit that I feel like I ever really connected with, I was probably 7. And so one thing that I really wanted to talk about in this space and on this podcast was about, children and their openness, their willingness to believe, their belief systems, and how they're so open and connected to this other dimension that exists that we can't see and we can't touch, but it's there. We can't see it with these eyes. But to make this more accepted, more widely accepted, and more the word used more, so that it makes it a little bit easier for maybe girls who, because like even this weekend I had a pop shop event for my store, and there was a young girl there. She was probably 17, and she was like, we were talking, she was looking at the crystals, and we were talking about the kits, and I said, oh yeah, I read tarot cards. And she's like, I have tarot cards. I just started reading, and we started talking. And it was just such a beautiful conversation that, you know, I feel like connecting with all different ages, all different women from every part of the world, we all have this common thread, which is that we have these feelings and we don't know where they come from, and they turn out to be correct. And we want to go deeper. And it's really just that simple.
Intuition.
Yeah.
I love this share from Taylor. I grew up in Southern Baptist as well. My grandfather is one of the main people in the church. I have always had psychic abilities, but I stayed silent. Now I don't want to feel hidden anymore. And I love that.
I love that too.
Okay. All right. So I wanted to open the floor if there's any questions. I wanted to do shares, but if there's any questions that anyone has, we're going to keep talking. And then I think it's time after a couple questions.
Some giveaways. Are we going to give things away?
I think maybe reading then give.
Okay. I'm just so excited to give things away.
Do you want the
Can we just do like one giveaway?
All right. I mean,
no, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
I'm tempted. All right. So are there any questions that you have about the word witch, about us, about our practices, anything?
Any of the episodes,
spirituality, intuition?
I want to know what everybody's favorite episode was too. If you can drop that in the chat, I'm super curious.
Love that.
And what other topics do we want to hear about?
We just got a question. Do your abilities include speaking to spirits? I'll answer this. Yes. So absolutely. I think my mediumship started a couple years ago. So for me, the spirits are very often passed over loved ones. And I will never forget, like, the first day I was sitting in a friend's car and I felt someone be like, tell her about the chocolate. And I was like, what in the world? And I was like, is there chocolate in the car? And I was like, and what are these beads? And she was like, no way. And she was like, these beads are my grandmother. And she opens her center console in the car and she goes, and these chocolates, I've never taken them out of the car, and they're my grandmother's. And I was like, okay. Okay. And that was the day I started to get more curious about, passed over loved ones. And I literally just had a session 3 days ago where one of my clients' passed over husband, had come through. And yeah, so I think that was the scariest part of owning all of my gifts, was tapping into, things not currently in the 3D world. And I learned a lot about like protection and telling them how I want to talk and, the boundaries. Cause I remember the first time, and I'm totally cool sharing this, like I actually heard a voice. I was like, no, we aren't doing that. I was on the phone with my pop and I heard a spirit say, hello. And I was like, goodbye, and I was like, okay, that's not the way I want to be communicated with. Right. And so like, from that day on, I have never heard a voice again. And so like, that's just not the way. Like I have a lot of claircognizance, which isn't all knowing. And so like, I actually don't see or like actually hear anything. And I don't want to. I think that when I decide I want to, more things may come through, but this is all about learning like boundaries and things, or how you want to communicate with spirit when you're open. Cause I do feel like I blocked my communication to spirits because I was so afraid. And then I stopped being afraid. And again, Amanda's taught me this too, around like spirits and things. Like sometimes when they know you're afraid, it's, not as easy.
Yeah. So I had an interesting experience. Just sounds like sometimes I can't believe the things I'm actually saying out loud on the internet. I just have to just go out and on a limb and say that. But, I have been actually hearing spirits and communicating with them literally since I was a young kid. And I think the one that sticks out for me the most was the guy who was in my daughter's room. And I know that we used to talk about him. But when I had my second daughter, she would not sleep. She would not sleep. She is now, I know that she is the most sensitive of my 3 kids and probably picked up on that energy even as a baby. But my oldest daughter had slept in that room previous to, it was the nursery, and it always had really good vibes. So I didn't really understand like what was going on. And I remember being in there one night and seeing this guy. And when I see them, they're like shadow outlines. So like I don't see a face, and I could see his hat and his outline. And, I remember like saying to my grandmother, like, I really think this is why she's not sleeping at night. This guy is just like standing there. I felt like almost feeding off of her energy, because babies, if you're someone who sees energies, like babies have the most amazing aura you will literally ever see. Like you look at a child under a couple months of age and it's just pure, blissed out light. And so I remember telling my husband and him being like, what? Like, I'm sorry, but like there's a guy in there. And I just nicely asked him to leave and said, you're not welcome here. This space is protected. And, just teaching people how to protect their energy has been something that has been a really big part of what the work that we've been doing together. And I think it's so interesting to connect with other people that have had similar experiences where they just like feel something in a room, and maybe you can't see it and maybe you can't hear it, but maybe you just know that something doesn't feel, aligned there. And so sometimes it's just as easy as saying like, I call back this space. I call back my power in the space in this room. And, this space is only love may enter and stay here. I just wanted to share that with you guys as well. Do you want to scroll down a little bit over there?
Yeah.
There's some more questions.
Manifestation was my favorite. Mel and I are going to have to get back to you on our favorite. Time to vid on content. Breaking fear barrier, self-sabotage. Would love to hear your point of view and advise. Breaking fear barrier and self-sabotage.
Breaking the fear barrier. I mean, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? So I'm always constantly pushing myself to feel uncomfortable. I feel like comfort will kill you. It's really about pushing your boundaries and pushing your comfort zone and not being afraid of the judgment, I guess. Yeah. I mean, it's really judgment, I think, that a lot of us fear.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me too, it wasn't just judgment. Like I actually was like scared shitless. Oh my god, there's zero. It's in my room. I remember.
Yeah, I was too little for that. Yeah,
I wasn't little. Like and that's where we are different
right.
too. Is like
I'm like chill out.
Born into this shit, and like my stuff came like a couple of years ago. And I remember I was like, I going into the store, and I was like, you got to get these crystals. And she was like, so like, we got to fit off each other. But I was afraid. And I don't know. I think that like, you're just like, you're in it to win it or you're not. Like, that's like my attitude is like, I'm either going to go all in or I'm going to live in fear. And like, to me, my whole life has been like taking risks and like doing the things that no one else does. And I don't think there's anything I can say that's like, gonna be like, are you ready to talk? You're never gonna be ready. There's no such thing as ready. Like I was never ready for any of this to start a podcast called The Witch's Realm. You know what I mean? So I think it's like when you feel in your soul that like, I'm just going to move through this fear, because the thing is, in everything that I've ever done, I felt the fear and I did it anyway. It's like, I don't think we ever eliminate the fear. And I think that is something that I see taught sometimes in the online industry, where it's like, get rid of it. No, you think I'm still not afraid? You lying? I'm not gonna lie to you. It's there and I do it anyway. So I don't like get rid of it. I'm just like, you're just gonna take a seat like a little back, you're not driving the vehicle with me. You just got to go in the back. Like we can have like little conversations here and there, and self-sabotage, even around like imposter syndrome, all of that. So that's when other people come in, where it's like, well, what if I'm wrong? Do you know how many times, like the first 40 readings I did, I was like, oh my God, what if I mess up? What if I say something offensive? What if
Yeah,
she
I get
gets
that
mad.
question a lot. I get the question a lot. Like, how do you know when you're doing a reading and you get a message, how do you know that your message is correct? And how do you not second guess it? Right. I get that question all the time. I don't know the answer. I just do it. I mean, I literally
just
black
know.
out. If you've had a reading from me, it's like,
Yeah.
I literally black out and I just start telling you everything and then it's over. It's done. I mean, you just have to be willing to put it all out there, I guess, and trust yourself. It's really about trusting your intuition. I think that's really the biggest thing when it comes to using a tool for reading, is trusting the tool, trusting yourself as the vessel and and trusting source that they're going to show up and give you the correct information. We have so many comments. Scroll.
And also, these are questions, so that's why I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Scrolling.
Okay. Sorry.
And just to add to that, you know, like I like to like fuck it up forward. So like I'm willing in the path that I'm on in this world, because I know it's big and I feel like I was chosen. I'm willing to be wrong. And I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing for someone to say this is, and by the way, this doesn't happen because I'm like always right. But like if I was wrong, how you like them apples? If I was wrong, I'd be like, okay. Or I might just say this is probably gonna happen in 6 months time and I'm right anyways. But I've had that happen where someone, like I'll read someone, they'll be like, no. And I'm like, okay. And then 6 months later I get a DM like, you remember when? And I'm like, what did
I love
tell
that.
you?
That's
What
my
did I tell you?
favorite.
No, it's not my favorite. Because if you just would have listened to me 6 months ago, we wouldn't be in this predicament. Okay. All right. What's the Mel question around protection? I'm having fun.
No, Amanda answered it.
Oh,
Totally
okay.
fine. You just, well, I just want to confirm what she said, because something that happened to me when I started realizing my powers, I'm in the boat where, yeah, like my grandpa died when I was 3, and I used to pass messages along all the time to my dad, like legit wake up at 3 in, turn around, wipe his tear and go, Dad, Grandpa says everything is going to be okay. Okay. And then fall back asleep. And so like I relate to both of you guys, because that used to be my reality and then it turned off. And now in the last, I guess since 2015, they've been turned on. But when it turned on, I feel like everyone came to the party.
It's definitely something that's come and gone.
Like I'm really interested in like, but I think, Amanda, you kind of answered the question that protection is really simplified, right? Call back your energy, call back your power, tell, hey, only love is invited to the party. Only high vibrations are invited to the party. Like, can you guys explain a little bit more about how you protect yourselves? Because as soon as you become visible and enter another dimension, everyone's going to want to try to come. I mean, man, I've had shapeshifters, I've had reptilians. I can't believe I'm saying this on the internet, but like I've had a lot of people who just go, oh, she's awake, let's try to deceive her. And I've had a lot of situations that I felt like I skirted, you know, like without really knowing the rules.
Sound effects, I'm here for it, Mel.
And so yeah, so like I really enjoyed the workshop that you guys ran, or you know, about protection and salt and stuff like that. Anything I guess what I'm asking is,
I think
protection. Yeah. Speak on it.
Go ahead, you go first.
Well, I mean, I think there's different ways to protect yourself, right? So like one of my most important protection ways is our mind is so unbelievably powerful. So I just set the intention of like, this is what I'm allowing in this space. And so one of the first things I do when I get up is like actually envision a white light, and I will do it with my hands. I know, I don't know if I've ever shared this on the internet, but I'll just like go like this. And I'm like, no, and I put a protection barrier around myself, and like, I put it around myself. Right. But like, I really believe that I am energetically setting this intention. And then there's a million other things. Like, so we can talk about energetic protection there, right? Like in calling in my guides and asking and energy and white light and all these things. And then there's actually physical protection, like black tourmaline and crystals and sage. And like, I am always wearing my evil eye, right? To protect from people hating on me or sending me bad vibes. So, there's spells for protection. I think that there's just so many different ways that I do protection work. And so I try to incorporate them, especially when I'm feeling like either acyclically attacked or like someone's throwing vibes my way. I'm like, oh, we're going to do just a little extra of this today. Right. But there's a lot of different, I would say, tactics that I use.
So I like to sort of have both I would say like reactive type of protection that I do, and then also a kind of like blanket proactive approach as well. Just like Andrea was saying, like I will do a lot of visualization of white light. I also have used like a brick wall in the past before. That's something that my grandmother taught me really young, because I would say to her, like, I don't want you to know everything in my brain. Like, how do I keep you from knowing everything? Like, I couldn't have her knowing everything when I was like a teenager. And she would say to me, just like, think of having a brick wall around your mind. And so oftentimes, like when I was around her as a child, I would practice that. And then also like I would practice that a lot with other readers. Like a lot of times when I go, if like I'm somewhere and there's someone who's like giving readings, a lot of times I'll sit down and then they have a hard time tapping into me because I'm very, very guarded energetically. And I've always been very guarded energetically. It took you years to break me down, like literally years. But I think like also, as I was saying, like reactively, the life is messy. So you can get up in the morning and you can say, I'm going to put this white light around me. But then you're going to go about your day and shit is going to happen. The world is going to get involved with your life and the planets are moving around and there's other human beings in the world that are fucking shit up for
I've
you.
had a big tower of a mess. I'm just like,
I have a tower burning down.
the tower,
the next episode is all about the tower energy episode. Yeah. I guess it'll be 8 now. But so I'll give you guys a quick example. Today, I was at my office this morning loading up my cruise for the day, and there was a lot of bees swarming around us. And the last time there were bees swarming around in the morning, we had like a really crazy day that day at work. So I said to the guys, I'm like, you guys, the bees are back. Like we need to start this over. We need to reset. And sometimes it's just as simple as like resetting your energy and grounding your energy and saying like, I'm calling back my power on this day. I'm going to proceed with clarity. If you're feeling, really lean into your intuition. And if you're feeling like something is off, it's just as simple as, if you're in the kitchen, like someone was talking about being a kitchen witch, just throw in some salt over your shoulder. I mean, it's really that simple. Make a little circle with some table salt. It's really that simple. The evil eye.
A circle around myself.
Yeah, a circle around yourself. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
What we're protecting.
My boyfriend's gonna have to get used to sweeping up salt all over the place.
Yeah,
I think
that's
I could
why
pitch
I
it.
do it a lot in the kitchen. I do it in the kitchen. I'm like, it's spilled. What do you want from me?
Okay.
All right. I think kind of having these little tricks in your toolbox of like, that way when you encounter negativity or a feeling, you kind of shift and go to that place. I'm going to scroll down a little bit.
Oh no, yeah. Thank you guys for reminding me that there's a lot of different tools. Thank you, Dre, for like that reminder. And yeah, we can be proactive and reactive, and both are necessary. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. We're going to take a couple more. Then we're going to do, I think, maybe like 2 readings and then go to the giveaways.
Sure.
We got 2 questions on claircognizance. So if you want to hear more about claircognizance experience of all knowing and Amanda's way that she describes herself too. I want to speak on like what claircognizance is to you. By the way, we have a witch school coming sooner than later. So we're going to be going into like all of the gifts and all of that stuff and actually like
I honestly can't even tell you what those words mean. Like I don't even know. I'm not even gonna lie. I have no idea what those words mean.
So all the different gifts.
Yeah, the clairs. Like I'm not familiar with Claire. So introduce us.
Claircognizance is all knowing. So like clairsentient is feeling, like all the different well, we're teaching Whistle because
Yeah, I don't know.
we're gonna have to talk about the clairs.
I mean, I know that you can hear, you can feel. I'm obviously I know what the senses are, but
so the claircognizance one is just knowing, and I feel like that's
probably pretty universally common. I
think the most common
Yeah.
gift. And I think that like tapping into that was, I will just say, like when I first got intuitive gifts, and I was just said this before of like women's intuition, right? Is like, I thought I was crazy. I was like, trust is a big, big, big part of claircognizance, because it's like, that you're feeling that thing and you have to trust that. So I'd be like, oh, I feel like the phone's gonna ring, or I feel like this is this. And I for years, like for a while, I ignored these feelings and I wrote them off as like, well, maybe I have like a sixth sense, or maybe
or like a coincidence.
Yeah. And I think when I like allowed myself to, when I felt it, we're going to be teaching this in witch school, so I'm not going to go too deep, but I think that for me, you have to learn your psychic language, right? So I'm just going to give a weird example, but like when I feel that someone is drinking, I might feel like this thing in my left shoulder, right? And like that means that the person in this spread is a drinker, right? And when I feel this here in my right shoulder, it means infidelity. Like it took me reading and practicing to know that like that's what this mean, or like this card represents this. And that's where I like want to invite some of the women here who are like scared or whatever. It's like sometimes you don't know about your gifts until you start working with them and in other people's energies and asking for feedback. And that's why when a lot of newly intuitive women come to me, I have them do like a couple of free sessions, and then we do paid, and then we work our way up there and they become freaking millionaires. You know what I mean? But like we all start somewhere, and you got to get these testimonials and figure out your language and learn it. And this takes steps. So that's why I'm definitely going to be teaching more about intuition and diving there.
A lot of what I was able to tap into early on when I was starting to kind of get to know my abilities was visual stuff. A lot of stuff is stuff that I see. And so I tend to write things down and take a lot of notes, because that's how I get it from my head out without processing it rationally, right? Because like, here's the thing, I'm super intuitive and a really in touch with my, sensitive, but I am also very rational, very logical and sequential. And, I love numbers and science and data and information. And so I think in order to bypass that, I go right to writing things out. So a lot of times when I'm reading, I'll have a notepad next to me and just kind of like let it flow out of my fingers as I'm interpreting it. And I really just try not to think about it. I try not to let myself get in the way of the message. That's really the biggest thing. But like Andrea said, we are really working very hard on a program that will allow people to connect with these skills in a really natural, organic, and build on them, so that you can sort of get in touch with some of these rituals and things that Andrea and I have learned.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, I think I know that for you, like sometimes when we do read together, like you just, it's like in your mind, you don't hear it. We've talked about that a lot before, like how I actually hear the words.
I just know.
And it's different for everybody. And with every person I've talked to, it's always a little bit different. So I love that.
I think one more question and we'll go into readings. And at the end of this, we're going to invite you to possibly read with the both of us. And on top of that, anyone here, I know a couple people have mentioned it in the comments, but I do have a spell membership, and it's literally $77 a month until midnight. So if you're looking to do spell work, jump in with me. or send me a message after this. So last question that we're going to take is, does someone have to be gifted or anyone can learn to do this work? Yes, absolutely. I feel anyone can learn to do this work because I believe everyone is gifted. I truly believe from the bottom of my heart that I guess this is how I want to explain it. How I'm going to answer this question is, I didn't step into my gifts until adulthood because I had so much trauma and so much like an onion, it's like I had like society's views and the abuse I endured as a child and all of these different things. I think blocking my gifts, I became a really hardened shell. And once I allowed myself to heal and be open, and like the onion started peeling back the fucking layers. And I was like, oh, okay, like now I'm more open. Now I can feel what was deep down to the core. It was already there, And so I think that when I started doing more self-development work and healing my trauma and getting to the core of who I was and more curious and more open is when I fully started to experience more of my gifts. And I think until then, I did not think I was gifted. I remember like seeing my cousin and being like, what are those crystals, you weird child, right? And like, so it's just funny that like 6 years ago, I was saying stuff like that. And then I was like, oh, okay. Once I started healing and opening my mind and stop being so judgmental and rigid from the way I was raised, I had to change my perception and heal. And that's when my gifts started to really come forward. And now they're getting like insane. Like I can hear thoughts. I just had someone on one of my sessions bring pictures of people and she was like, what is he thinking about me? And like, I knew everything about the situation with multiple people. And I was like, this is crazy. Like my gifts are insane now. And I'm finally owning them. Like I can hear thoughts. I can predict the future. I can tell you people's intentions. Like it's insane. And I'm done playing small with it. So there's that.
Anything else?
No, that's all I wanted to say. How about you?
I think everyone has the ability to receive messages. I think it's all about tuning in and being open. I never really considered myself as like gifted. I've always been a disruptor, sort of a little bit of a quiet, maybe a little bit of a quiet disruptor, maybe a little loud sometimes. I don't know. I've always felt that there were messages that I was meant to deliver. And this whole experience tonight has just always been part of that journey. And this was going to happen. And we were going to have this conversation and more people were going to get in touch with their gifts because of this conversation. And I do feel that everybody has. You remember what? Me telling you I wasn't gifted?
No, I remember when I don't know, I just saw a vision in my head where like,
stop shaking me.
That's how I operate. That's how I channel. I have to move. We were in Milford at your new studio right when you opened in like 2019. And I looked you in the face and I was like, we're going to work together. And you were like, doing what? And I was like, I just don't know. But, and like, I was starting to have visions then that we were doing something together and we just couldn't figure out what it would be. And then it happened.
Yeah. I remember you asking me too. You were like, how did you get your gifts? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what? I'm just reading your cards, girl. Like, chill. Honestly, it was such a nonchalant thing for me growing up that really only recently have I really realized I have worked on women who are ill. I've worked on women who have been going through infertility. Mm-hmm. I have seen the power of what we have as human beings, and I fully believe in it. And I believe it exists within all of us. We just have to learn how to control it and turn it on and tune it in.
Good thing I don't offend very easily and I stop at nothing. Okay, so here's what I'm feeling. Tell me if we're on the vibe. I want to be called to a question. So I'm not feeling called to like random card pulls. I want questions dropped into the chat, and I want to be drawn to one, and then I'm gonna have
I've never done this before, so you're going
okay,
first.
I'm in. Drop a question that you have in the chat that you want an answer to psychically, a read on. And
we'll just pick some randomly.
We're gonna pick one.
Okay.
And then we're gonna have you unmute and we'll talk to you and read for you. I've got my cards. So here we go. Oh wow.
Oh, whoa.
Okay. All right. Okay. Do we want to do this one?
Keep going.
Okay.
Oh, I just want to see them all.
I like this one.
I like that one too. Go
Okay.
down a little bit more. I like that one too.
What?
That one.
This one?
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. All right. Let's go first one, then next one.
Okay.
Wait, I gotta go. All right. This one. Let's do this one.
Okay.
All right. So is it Andrea or I think it's Andrea. I think you're in my spell membership. Andrea Boudet. I don't know how do you say that?
I like to call you Andrea. Don't call me Andrea Franco.
Andrea B. Because
I want to know whether to pursue my counseling career or coaching.
I don't really need cards, but like YOLO. I was thinking this before and I said it. I was like, I've never had so many people.
So I just
watching
pulled, I know I said you were going to go first, but I just went. So sorry. This is the 5 of Wands that I just pulled. And this is a card of change. So I feel like things are going through a little bit of a transition right now. And you're sort of thinking about this new idea and going down this different path, but you're making it a little bit too difficult. It doesn't have to be black and white. It doesn't have to be coaching or counseling. It feels like there can be a happy medium where you are actually scratching both of those spots, is what I was hearing. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
Go.
I actually was called to pull Oracle for this. So I feel like you've been very in your head. We have daydream here, release and surrenders, then coming through. I just show you my cards, and then entrepreneur. So I'm being called to say that I feel like, first of all, these things aren't completely different, but I feel like your heart is being called to more entrepreneurship. So I'm going to say that I'm really feeling coaching is what you want deep down, but there's levels of fear here because I have blessing in disguise coming through and release and surrender. So I'm feeling like you're like, shit, this is scary. I feel like you haven't, since daydream is coming through as well. I'm really feeling like you've been so in your head that you haven't been showing up and you feel like nothing's really working with coaching. I feel like you really haven't gone all in on this and it's felt super scary. So there's just reservation. So the release and surrender card, I'm really feeling like it's time, especially with this entrepreneur card showing up with trustworthy guidance, is 1, you already know the answer to this, and 2, your guides are supporting you on this journey. So it's time to like, sorry, I'm a very honest reader, but it's time to buck up and do the thing. Like you want to coach, so coach. I think you've been being called here for a very long time. I just heard a very long time. And it's been something you've kind of like, they just showed me a puddle and you're like, let me put my foot in there a little bit. But you're not like, just jump in the ocean. Like what's going to happen? You know, maybe a couple of waves knock you over here and there. And then you get up and you keep swimming.
Yeah. So, and what I just heard too is like, you don't have to get so defined on what a coach is. Like it doesn't have to be, I don't know. That's just what was coming up. Like it doesn't have to be black or white. Look for gray area.
Okay. Love that. Jocelyn. Actually, wait, before I go on, is there anything that you would like to say? Does this resonate?
Oh, good call. Good call.
I would like, if you have anything to share, for you to do so. This is like my reader mode. She's a little like, she's Italian. Are you there, my friend?
Fregonona's here.
Yes. I didn't know if you meant type it or unmute.
Yeah.
Thank you for picking my question and for all of the beautiful information for both. I was laughing, Amanda, when you said you're going through a bit of a transition or whatever. I'm like, yeah, no shit. So, but thank you. My energy has just been getting really depleted through all kinds of things going on in my life. So partly I'm drawing within in order to like save my energy, so whatever, whenever I put it back out again, I've just been feeling kind of protective of it recently because I don't want to get depleted again. So, and that's a little bit sad for me. I mean, I've got some things going on and I just don't want to get really drained again. But so I might just wait for the right timing. But I really appreciate both of your readings and answers. Thank you so much.
Andrea, I just want to add to when we have beliefs that we've built that when we work with clients that maybe, might be energetically taxing, that our energy levels are drained, there's actually reframing that you can do around that work so that when you get off the phone or off a session with a client, you actually feel more energized. And that's something that Andrea and I talk a lot about in our private conversations. And one of the things that we will address more on this podcast is like, your life and your reality can literally be whatever you want it to be. Whatever. That is the whole idea here. So if you believe that providing your services is going to drain you, then if you believe that it won't, you are right in both circumstances. Whatever you believe is going to be your reality. So if you go into your everyday thinking, this work is going to energize me, fulfill me, sustain me, light me on fire, then it will be. So I just want to leave you with that.
It was the social media that I had pulled back on from quite a bit just because of a lot of other demands coming up in my life. But I get that as far as I will look forward to the podcast and information about that. Because even with my counseling clients, I've just been a lot pickier with who I take for clients, not wanting that to drain me either.
Of course.
So anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You guys are the best.
Thank you.
All right.
Next question.
We got Jocelyn up in here. Am I ever going to find a man on my level?
Oh my God. If that is not the question of the hour,
The year.
shit. I'm going to let you go first for real this time. I'm not even going to touch my cards.
No, touch the
No,
cards.
I'm going to wait until you're done.
No.
I have a quick trigger finger.
I think this is slightly unfair because I semi know Jocelyn, but
I don't know Jocelyn at all.
But the cards are aligning with anyways. Okay, so I do know something, and I'm not going to say it because anything we talk about in containers is always private and sacred, but I got time to go. So you are still attached to energy that is. And I just for a moment, I want to put you to the side because I feel like a lot of women here need to hear this. You cannot cultivate new energy in new men or women, right? In new anything when you are stuck to the past, right? And I'm not a perfect human, by the way, like sometimes we're like, I want a new person and I'm ready for this next level, but your actions and words aren't aligning. So I'm really feeling like it is time to leave a partnership in the past and put up some boundaries. And literally the next card is assertiveness. And I feel like really tapping into your power around what you want and having your words and actions align with this, because I feel like they're not always. I also feel like you have put down your business that's coming through a little bit and have heavily been focusing on love and energy and all of this stuff. And I think that this is just what's coming through. The more we sometimes smother energy, like when you light a fire, right? If you were to go over the fire like this, eventually it would go out, right? And I think that sometimes we just need to back up off the fire and let the flame go. Have you said that to me?
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, I'm channeling someone else's words.
Remember when we talked about smothering the flame?
Yeah, I feel like I was like, I don't know. I just showed me the picture. So Amanda, credit Amanda's words. And I think
no, I'm so glad. I'm so happy right now.
It resonated. I also feel like you need to have some more fun. Like that's coming, like plays coming through really loudly. Like I feel like this feels hard. This feels constrictive. I feel like I'm in a heart space where I'm like, ooh, and I'm like stressed. And like, this is a worry.
Yes.
If we can get back into the womb space, the feminine space of like, I'm excited, like I'm ready for this man, while matching our words and our boundaries and getting rid of past energy. I feel like this is a very a large answer, an answer that has different layers, because there's a couple of things that need to happen before like man, and I'm going to say man because you wrote man of your dreams comes in. I don't think it, and here's the thing, I don't think anything needs to take a long time, because I believe we can decide a whole new reality and create that and align our actions and our words and heal and put up boundaries and move to the next level. But you've really got to decide to do that.
Okay. So I pulled 3 cards. First one being the 4 of Cups. So I'll get a little bit closer so you guys can see. So when it comes to the 4 of Cups, this is kind of the energy of we're so focused on what's directly in front of us and what's in our current reality and what we have that's tangible. And it's so distracting that we can't fully interpret and hear the messages that are being sent to us from the universe. So we're sort of avoiding some of those messages, and they might be like continuously coming because we're not hearing them. And the cups have a lot to do with feelings. So I feel like when I'm getting into your energy and tapping into your energy, I'm feeling like there's a lot that you're feeling, a lot that you know, and you're ignoring. Okay. And let me know if this is resonating with you, but it's feeling like there's a lot of feelings coming up and we just don't really want to feel them right now. So we're just going to stay over here in the safe lane and ignore those feelings over here. The other card that I pulled is the Judgment card, which is the 20th card in the majors. And so the Judgment card is kind of coming through for me in this energy as putting too much logic into a situation that should be more intuition based. So really lean more into those feelings, into those cups, get a little bit more in your water signs and feel into what you want out of a partnership, because I think you're making logical partner choices instead of really going with like what your body is telling you. A lot of times we get trapped in these patterns where we just pick the same person over and over again, just disguised as like a different human. So I don't know, I'm picking up a little bit of that because I think the judgment might be a little bit off. Like sometimes I always say like you're picking the wrong partners. You have this pattern of wrong partner picking, and that's coming up a little bit here for me. And like I said, like if you guys have ever, some of you guys have seen me for a reading, like whatever comes out of my mouth, it just comes flying out. Like if you jump on here and ask for a reading, like I'm just going to say what comes up. So sorry if I offend anybody. Also 10 of Wands energy coming up here, which is one of my favorite cards because it's like this guy is carrying such a heavy load, but he's almost there. He's almost made it to the town. It's a card of completion. And so I do feel like you are nearing the end of that search for a guy who's on your level, but like, are you really putting out there are you really putting yourself out there and saying, this is the level I'm on? That's the question I'm going to leave you with.
Jocelyn.
Next.
No,
Boom.
what the?
Jocelyn, come on, girl. Tell us how we did.
Oh my God, spot on. Well, I definitely have, oh, I'm so sorry, my child's crying. I definitely have the pattern of picking the same person disguised, you know, as a different human. Oh, it's okay. Is 100% true. And that's something I've really been trying to work through, like breaking that cycle. And like the releasing of the past and past energy, like Andrea knows that not only does that have to happen, but like I'm trying so hard. I think I'm trying too hard to like release that, if that makes sense.
Well, it sounds like you're doing some other really, really important work right now. And
Yeah.
honestly, you're a new mom. Like, I can hear that little baby in the background, and you know, you've got a lot on your plate. So I wouldn't get too down on yourself. You know, I think if I was looking at your journey, your love journey, I would say you're getting close to finding the right person.
I hope so. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, it's never been a priority, I guess. I don't know. It's never been a concern. I think that's a better term. And now I'm kind of like, oh, is this coming, or am I going to be like on my own? But you guys were spot on. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
God, I love it.
All right. How are we feeling? Do you like this?
Go down a little bit more. There's like 45 other messages.
All right.
Yeah, someone mentioned that when they feel sometimes like in a group reading that the message can be for them, even if they weren't necessarily the person who asked the question. That does happen very frequently in group readings. It's one of like my favorite phenomenons that I've seen with other group readings as well, where like an answer will really feel like it's for you when maybe it wasn't necessarily. I love that. Yeah, go ahead.
What? I was feeling the one up
That
here.
one.
No, I was feeling this one. No.
Okay, sure.
I just got like an
Yeah.
instance to say it.
Yeah.
Okay. Katie, is it okay to trust a new partnership I'm making in business?
Oh, can I go first?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first card that I pulled is the Knight of Swords. Knights are fast moving energies, and the Knight of Swords is the most fast moving of all of the knights in the spread. And this is all about action and choices. So this is feeling like you're sort of going to be up against the wall with this decision. You're going to have to make it sort of quickly. It's not like you have like a ton of time on your hands. It feels like there's like some sort of like a sensitivity to the time frame, that things are moving quickly. Things are moving maybe a little bit quicker than you might have anticipated. I'm also getting the Queen of Cups, which is really saying to go with your intuition. The Queen of Cups, she is very in touch with her own feelings and her own intuition. So this is really telling you to go with your gut. However, if you're asking me if it's okay to trust a new partnership, I do think that it's a trustworthy partnership.
Okay, I have a couple of different things like I intuitively feel coming through. Like, is this a man? Can you answer me this question?
I guess it can kind of be both, because I'm working on multiple different things. Like my real estate career is really starting to take off. And so there's a man that I have been working with with my clients.
This question that you're asking in particular, is an energy a woman or a man?
A woman.
Okay. And that was the other thing I was trying to decipher. You have a lot of energies around you right now that you're working with, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the first thing that I'm hearing, is that you got to get a little bit laser focused. I feel like you have a tendency to take on a lot of things. And I'm going to use my example that I use on lots of workshops, but you got a full cup of water and you got to water the grass and let it grow, and you sometimes take cups and you're like, little water here, little water here, little water here. And like, not everything is coming to fruition. So I just want you to really think about the number one thing that you're being called to right now. And I know this doesn't have to do with your question, but I'm just very being loud that one of these things is going to come to fruition more than some of the others. If you just put a little more water there, I feel a little bit of scattered energy going on right now. And we have life purpose coming in here. So I completely think you're on the right track right now. I'm getting, what do you desire? I even pulled the Magician over here in tarot. So I do feel like you actually have a lot more control in this situation than you think. But I'm also getting, be honest with yourself. And I just feel like in the past that you've jumped into partnerships really fast and you trust very easily. So I'm being told that you need to have this trust earned over time. I'm not getting a no, but I don't absolutely adore the energy either. I'm just going to be really honest with you. Like I'm feeling that new projects come to fruition because I literally got creative project. And I think that things are going to move with, and I'm just feeling like, well, when I see visions, that's why I asked if it was a man or a woman. I see multiple energies. So I feel like there's a split thing. You have A and you have B, and there's partners in both. There's one I'm just feeling a little bit more leaning towards, which I actually think the man's energy that you're working with a little bit in real estate. I really like the real estate. Just tread carefully.
I like the real estate too.
Yeah, I really love that. Like I felt like it was like,
I love this microphone.
Like, do that, water that more. I feel like, you're just, you're being seen a lot more right there. And so don't take all your focus off of it. I felt really called to this question because I see a lot of success coming for you.
I do too.
And I wanted to stop you before, again, like we create our reality, before you take too many eggs out of this basket. I think you're thinking about moving eggs that you maybe shouldn't move.
I think put your energy in the real estate basket. I feel like that's really where it needs to go right now.
I agree. And so that's why I'm going to tell you, I don't adore whatever you're looking to do new. I don't hate it because
Katie likes to have a bunch of irons in the
because
fire.
I feel like I think it's fun for
Amanda
you.
knows.
It's fun for you. Whatever this is more fun for you. It's fresh air is coming out.
She likes to have fun.
And I know you like fun, but you know what? Have fun in 6 months. Okay.
I've really calmed down a lot.
That's what I heard. Someone just said, have fun in 6 months.
I still can't control myself at the Buffalo Bills games, but other than that,
what do you want from a girl?
Drink a little bit, Katie. Focus on the real. Don't take all your eggs out the basket yet.
So I did want to tell you, I'm surprised that you guys picked my question because I obviously know you both, but I appreciate
no, I just
greatly.
felt like the spirit being like, you got to warn her. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I am scattered. I am all over the place. Every day I wake up, I'm like, so what should I focus on today? Because I have a whole list.
So bad.
I've seen that list before.
Yeah, I need to I have a blank whiteboard that I tell myself every day, like just kind of write it all down. But
it's been blank a while.
Yeah, it has been blank a while. You know it.
I love you.
I love you too.
You have limitless potential. You're gonna do things.
Seriously.
The word I just heard is discipline. Discipline Jeopardy for 5,000.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So after we did the spell the other night, it was kind of really crazy. I was on the phone with my dad, and how I get my real estate clients right now, just because I am still a newer agent, is through an app. And when a new person pops up, you have to be the first one to claim that person.
Mm.
And there's like hundreds and hundreds of other people in my area using the same thing. And this one popped up, and it was, the person had an $800,000 budget. And I was like, Dad, hang on a second. I was on the phone and I clicked on it real quick and I got it. And I'm showing him a house tomorrow. And it's
Okay.
And after the spell, can I have confirmation?
Yes, it was after the spell. It was after the spell. So
These
I've just
rolling in from this spell. I'm like, okay.
And like I literally wrote on my mirror 2 weeks ago, money comes to me easily and frequently, just so I see it every single day and I remind myself of it every single day. But yeah, no, I feel really good about the real estate too. And so the other thing, I'm like, this is going to be very time consuming as well. And like real estate is really what I've felt drawn to for years, and I'm finally just doing it. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Katie.
Okay, so I'm gonna go quickly into how you win things.
Yes.
Prizes. So we have a couple of prizes. One is going to be a See No Evil swag bag, which is her beautiful company. Go ahead.
Yeah. So one of the things you guys asked about was protection. So about 5 years ago, my best friend Darcy and I started a clothing line together, which represents the evil eye. And I put together a beautiful little swag bag to give away. It has one of our unfazed sweatshirts in it. So whoever wins, you can just shoot us your size and we will send out a swag bag with a sweatshirt, a hat, and some eye gels for you to enjoy and try. So I'm so excited to give that away. We're also giving away $111 to one winner, $55 to another winner.
And you are going to be one of the first people to receive my brand new money candle that I'm putting my magic into. My new candle line will be dropping in a couple of weeks, and one of you will be winning one. So you'll be one of the first to get your.
All right, tell them how to enter. Tell them how to enter.
Okay, so this is how you need to enter. Are you ready? You're gonna go to the Witches Realm podcast and you're gonna hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I don't know what you're thinking. And then you are going to give us, obviously, if you love us, a 5-star review. All right, give us a 5-star review. We're trying to get this podcast up to the world. And you're going to screenshot that. And lastly, we want you to obviously share. So if you want to share your 5-star review or your favorite episode, whichever you want to share on Instagram, these are the 3 ways to go ahead and enter. We're going to tag, I guess I could type in the chat because I have a lot of Instagrams. Do you want to type your at?
Sure.
So you're going to at us on Instagram with this story. So a photo. How do we give a 5-star? You have to go to like Apple Podcasts or whatever you use and subscribe and give. And I can't find the review. I'm not sure. Do it again. I don't know the answers to that. But if you're already rated, same
Spotify doesn't allow you. Oh, all right. Well, then just take a picture of your favorite episode if you're on Spotify, I guess.
Well, part of the giveaway is you have to rate it 5. So like, can we do something? Can we go on another thing?
Another platform?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's the part of the giveaway.
Yeah. The podcast app. Well, I think that's only for Apple. I think only Apple. Yes, you can do it on YouTube.
All right.
Yes.
As long as it's the right.
Yes.
And then story and tag us both. So we both see it. That's how you get entered. And if you want an extra, you can tag us on Facebook too. And again, if you use one or the other, you can do Facebook, but using both is added. I guess that. This is crazy. I don't know all the things.
I don't know.
All right. Well,
I screenshot stuff.
I know. I do it on Apple, so I'm not sure. do the best we can. Share the things. We trust that you're writing the review. And lastly, for anyone looking to, I screenshot just now on Apple. Yay!
Yay!
So you want a story, tag us. Well, this is all coming. By the way, we're going to post these directions in the Facebook group. We're also going to email them out. So that's how you do it. Now, if everyone knows, my sessions are pretty much always sold out. You really can't get on the phone with me nowadays, Amanda, either. So anyone who in here is looking for a reading, I've been telling you guys I might come back out. Me and Amanda are going to do paired readings with each other. For the both of us, there are only 20 slots. It's going to be $333. If you want, it's a group reading, just so you know.
On 11/22. So on
11/25.
No.
Oh, yeah.
On
Okay.
11/22, Monday, November 22nd, 11/22, we will be doing a group reading at 5 p.m. Eastern time. There are 20 spots.
All right, I gotta find the link now.
And Andrea will drop the
Andrea doesn't
link.
know how to do tech things. All right, combination.
So if you did not have your card or your question read tonight and you would like to join on the 22nd, feel free to jump in.
Okay.
My sessions, I do have sessions open, but I literally just opened them tonight. I'm booked until January. So this is really a great way to connect with Andrea and I and get a double reading, which I used to do them with my grandmother. That's how Andrea and I actually met. She came to my grandmother's house for a little special double reading thing we were doing. And we did do this once.
Yeah.
And I think in a container.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just so thankful for you guys. There's so many people on here that I just from far, from recent, from my past, and from all over the world. And I just want to say thank you to you guys so much for taking the time out to come tonight and connect with us and talk about things that I have just been dying to talk to the internet about for, I don't know, since longer than I knew it was possible.
Yes. And just know that we have an email.
Yes. The Witches Realm podcast at gmail.com. And we would love for you to send your questions. One of the biggest questions I got was, and I got 3 DMs while we were on this tonight. Yeah. When are you guys going to talk about sex? Because you say it in the intro with such guttural, like my husband heard it and he was like, what the fuck are you going to be talking about? And I was like, it's Andrea. Like, who knows? It could be anything. But everyone wants to know. So we need to get, I think, episode 9.
Will each person get a read? Absolutely. You both are getting read from both of us. You're both gonna
that's why we put the 20-person cap, and we know that this is gonna probably, like, if you're planning to come to this,
out. As soon as I put it to my email list, it's gonna sell out. So if you want first,
but it's also going to be a long session.
Be a long call.
We'll probably be on a few hours
at a minimum of like 10 minutes. So like we're really going to go really deep.
Thank you, Emma,
and support every single one of you. So like absolutely,
I feel like I know Emma. She's just like new to my social media world, and I'm seeing her everywhere. And I just maybe that's where I found her.
You met her when you did the spell.
Okay. I knew I met her somewhere. Yes. She's like everywhere in my world lately.
We're gonna talk. Sorry to interrupt you. I was like, gotta answer the question. That's my ADHD. And yes, but we're gonna talk about sex. But I would love for you guys to submit questions, anything.
Yeah, so I think the lineup is going to be The Tower is our next recording, and then we'll get straight to the juicy stuff for you guys. Maybe episode 10.
I'm like, do you really want to hear about all the things?
I don't know. I don't know.
I might.
I don't know. I'm a little nervous, but these are the questions that the people are asking.
If you think I'm this bold about normal topics, what do you think I'm going to say about?
I ran into one of my daughter's school friends in a parking lot the other day, and like my daughter's 9. And so the mom and I were chatting, and she's like, oh my God, I saw your podcast. And she's like, we're going to listen to it in the car. And I was like, I don't know if you want to do that. I don't think you do. I think you might want to wait on that. But I love being able to be the fullest version of myself with you ladies. So thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming, for letting us after talking about sex.
I have
used
to
be
pee
put in
now.
the corner. Anyways, we love you. Thank you for letting us normalize the word witch and showing up to put yourself outside of the box. The session 333. Do that. Subscribe. 5 stars.
Win the money.
We love you. Win things. Posts. Tag us. All this is coming in an email and in the Facebook group too.
Thank you
So
guys.
thank you. We love you. And we will continue paving the way for normalization of the word witch. Mwah.
See you later,
soon.
witches.